NBA teams' 2023 New Year's resolution. The NBA teams have the ideal opportunity to evaluate their conditions in the new year, with the calendar turning to 2023 and little over half of the regular season remaining. Every team has problems, whether fighting for a position at the bottom of the standings or climbing to the top. It's time to reflect inward, choose what needs to be changed, and resolve to make that choice. In this video, we'll look at the NBA and the list of resolutions each team should make for the next year. Let's begin. Atlanta Hawks' resolution is to ask the big questions. Trae Young has been one of the select few players in his very short career capable of improving his team's offense all by himself. Regarding scoring efficiency, the Atlanta Hawks came in second the previous season and 8th the year before. In spite of the point guard's enormously favorable influence, it had occurred that their total offensive performances had fallen short, such as when they finished 26th in 2019-20 or 25th in 2018-2019. In every season of his career, the Hawks' offense has benefited greatly from his presence on the court. Young made history by being the first player since 1973 to lead the league in total points and assists. However, the Hawks are forced to consider whether Young is the proper player to base their team's future. Conflicts with both of the coaches for whom he has played, simmering issues with star teammates, a failure to modify his style of play to suit DeJounte Murray, and now whispers of a potential trade request down the road should prompt Atlanta to do a thorough top-down analysis. Boston Celtics' resolution is to put it all together. Well, no Boston Celtics rotation player should have been able to shoot 40+% of their threes for the whole season. Still, long-range regression was more to blame for the team's decline in offensive performances than anything else, as what was once the league's best assault began to falter in December. Some of Boston's well-known weaknesses, turnovers and stagnation, returned. Robert Williams III has returned to duty for the Celtics after suffering a knee injury. Boston should be able to reclaim its identity on defense with him in the starting lineup. Remember that once Williams shifted to his roving corner position, which allowed him to swoop in and erase activity at the rim, nobody could score on the Celtics last season. The Celtics had by far the NBA's top defense in the second half of 2021-22. Brooklyn Nets' resolution is to stay quiet. The Brooklyn Nets were the undisputed kings of dysfunction from July through November, but they've managed to keep the roster together and play basketball for the past month. Things have been relatively calm since Kyrie Irving ended his suspension in late November and Steve Nash resigned as coach. The outcomes have been favorable, with Kevin Durant having an MVP-caliber season and a steadily improving supporting cast. Brooklyn is moving up the standings and securing what appears to be a top 4 berth in the Eastern Conference. But there was never any doubt about this group's talent or depth. Combustion potential has always been a problem, and will continue to be so throughout the season. The more peaceful Brooklyn remains, the more likely this club will make a splash in the postseason. Charlotte Hornets' resolution is to play the picks. The Charlotte Hornets could have said, "Face the truth," but that would have felt brutal without offering any suggestions as to what they could do to turn things around. A team with no chance of immediate success should play against prospects to learn as much as it can about its future potential. When you look back at Charlotte's most recent droughts, it's startling to see how little playing time its most recent first-round picks are receiving. Undoubtedly, LaMelo Ball, an all-star already, is in charge. Mark Williams, the number 15 pick this year, has only played a total of 13 minutes over the course of 3 games before receiving a spot in the French rotation this past week. Williams might make defensive errors or need help with his offensive positioning, given his inexperience. Still, the Hornets are already one of the 2 weakest teams in the East by a significant margin. There is no drawback. Chicago Bulls' resolution is to blow it up. The Chicago Bulls are attempting to save what? Before considering if it's possible to convince Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan to agree, the team should first ask that question. Let's say the 2 stars find some harmony. Then what? How effective in the short run can this team be with those 2 playing well? And is that fictitious level of performance worth disregarding the long-term effects of sticking with this roster? The Bulls should consult with an outside expert on those issues. In exchange for them, Chicago thought it made sense to trade Wendell Carter Jr., 2 future first-round picks, and Nikola Vucevic. In the end, even if they can align their 2 best players, the Bulls are not contenders and cannot become one with this squad. That implies it's time to seriously consider transferring Levain, DeRozan, Wavai, and anyone else that needs to be firmly established. Cleveland Cavaliers' resolution is to finish what you start. This resolution is a call to run through the tape following the Donovan Mitchell era's promising start for the Cleveland Cavaliers, in the broadest sense conceivable. The Cavaliers have provided several answers and stand a strong chance of winning the East. A successful playoff run would crown a transformative season. Here, the recommendation is more focused. It concerns a starting lineup that needs to be completed. Cleveland has 4 elite alternatives: Darius Garland and Mitchell at the guard positions, and the rangy, paint-protecting tandem of Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley up front. An otherwise championship-caliber team nonetheless has a glaring vulnerability at small forward. Dallas Mavericks' resolution is to explore new ideas. The Dallas Mavericks finished first in 2019-20 and no worse than 12th throughout that time, placing them among the top 10 in offensive efficiency in 3 of the previous 4 years. Their propensity to burden Luka Doncic with enormous tasks has an effect. It's challenging to argue that Dallas should alter a situation that results in triple-doubles with 60 points. However, the Mavs strategy also results in game-day exhaustion and season-long burnout. Most alarmingly, it also makes the playoffs predictable. Whether the Mavericks' excessive heliocentrism results from tactical coaching choices or Donnie's preferences to serve as the center of his team's offensive is still unknown. Given that one player leads the league in usage rate by a significant margin, it's difficult to envision head coach Jason Kidd, one of the greatest distributors and ball movers of all time, preferring to operate this way. Additionally, Rick Carlisle, a former coach, is now in charge of the Indiana Pacers, a team that employs a fast-paced, movement-heavy offense. Denver Nuggets resolved to don't worry about appearances. The Denver Nuggets delivers when it counts, often in a dramatic style, with a few notable exceptions. Denver's success in late games could have been more varied. The Nuggets frequently prevail in close games by persevering, propelled by Nikola Jokic's absurdly frequent trips to the foul line and a defense that exhausts opponents. Indeed, the Nuggets cannot continue to count on opponents making one of every 5 clutch 3-point attempts, and there is no guarantee that Jokic will continue to make 23.8 attempts at the line for every 100 crucial possessions. The Nuggets should maintain track of these victories and continue to contend for the top slot in the West aggressively. At the very least, these dubious late-game victories will inspire confidence as the roster gels in the second half of the season. Whatever the circumstances, victories are victories and ought to be celebrated. That is all for this video. We will be back soon with another informative video. Do like and share this video to keep yourself updated on our upcoming videos. Until next time.